What is happening there, citizens of the Reject Nation? Greg and John here today to talk something very specifically post-Secret Invasion finale. John, how are you?
I'm good. I haven't been the real me in years. How are you?
Oh my God.
Oh.
That undercuts so much of your journey here on the Real Rejects.
Our personal breakthroughs together as friends are moot now.
So, ladies and gentlemen, leave a like. That would be very much appreciated. Also, wanted to give a mention to our exclusive Ahsoka Tano A Soda shirt. It is only available until July 31st. After that, no longer available. It's one of the great ways to support the channel is by picking yourself up one. Plus, it's just a really cool shirt, and I'm sad it can only be available for a limited time. It's just the way it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, there has been a lot of talk about the real Rhodey being revealed for how long Skrody has essentially been around in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And there's a very common belief that he has been around pretty much since the events of Captain America Civil War due to the fact that he was in a hospital gown when he was revealed in Secret Invasion. That just led to a trickle of thoughts. It's something that John and I did not quite touch on, because we didn't take it immediately as that's confirmation it's been since Civil War, because at the very end of Captain America Civil War, he's not in a hospital gown. He is, bonding with Tony. That's when the Stan Lee cameo happens, when he's working on getting his feet back on the ground. Metaphorically and physically speaking. But yeah, the last time we did see Rhodey in a hospital gown, and the only time we did, was in the events of Captain America Civil War. So maybe he got Skrodied during his time while he was in the MRI machine.
And Vision just let it happen.
But my thoughts on this, and as we were talking, it sort of led down a trickle of a lot of things of what makes this, if this is indeed the time frame for how long Rhodey has been Skrody. In my opinion, and I'm imagining you probably feel the same way, it makes a lot of it a little dumb in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it actually has me a bit concerned for what's going to be happening with Armor Wars moving forward. And honestly, if you guys in the comments have a completely different take, or if there's something that we say where you're like, well, you know what, Greg and John, actually, maybe you will be able to change your minds. We are open-minded individuals, so please leave your thoughts down below after hearing what we got to say, of course. But let's dive into it. All right. First and foremost, the thing that immediately bothered me, because I got three things that I want to talk about. One, it pertains to Nick Fury specifically. Another pertaining to Skrody specifically, how I think that actually makes his character a little dumber. And three, how it mainly undercuts the journey of what Rhodey has been on from Infinity War to even his little appearance in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I want to start off with that one, because that's the biggest one for me that I think is really undermined if this is indeed the time frame that he has been Rhodey. Because Rhodey was there for the Battle of Wakanda in Infinity War, which is a very big battle, and
meaningful battle.
It was a meaningful battle, and he was around for when everyone got blipped. He was part of that main Avengers lineup for what will become the cast for Avengers Endgame, which of course explores the 5-year blip. And if Rhodey wasn't present for that, I mean, what are the convenient odds? Would Rhodey have had to have been blipped in order? Could Rhodey have been blipped, and Skrody can still stick around by maintaining all the things
But the memories would have to go away from the mind melder machine.
Yeah, so that
you
would
just
mean
have to remember.
he really lucked out.
And then, what happens if that zaps away? Do you remember just what you can recall, or is it just like the whole bank of data is just gone now?
Yeah, I don't really know how it works. Do we need some clarity on the rules? Regardless, it doesn't even really matter at this point. It's the fact that Skrody was the one experiencing the 5-year blip. Skrody was the one who did the time traveling and hung out with Nebula. Skrody was the one who owned the line about time traveling back and murdering baby Thanos. Skrody.
How could they?
Skrody was the one who was there for Tony Stark's death.
Yeah.
These are things that Rhodey did not get to experience then, if he was indeed, not real Rhodey for it.
Well,
You know what I mean? And to me, I'm like, that should factor in so much to Rhodey's character development, and now you are stripping him away from that.
Yeah, well, and two, that makes me think too that that's just such a thematically full circle idea image that he should be there for Tony upon his death, as Tony was there for him upon this catastrophic moment that changes the course of his life forever in Civil War.
Yeah.
And so, like, if it's not actually him, yeah, the beats of the character, the juice of the character are given to this other character, but now who's a different guy who we haven't really had any time to latch onto. And the problem is that in Secret Invasion, he's like so kind of transparent in his approach to things that you then have to wonder, well, if he's been a, Skrull this whole time, where did all his subtlety go and his like nuance of knowing the character he's supposed to portray?
Yeah, and I do want to dive a little bit more into that in a second, because the thing to keep in mind is this is going off of the fact that, the belief is this has been around Civil War. It might not be, at the end of the day, it's a hospital gown. And
maybe they didn't have time to strip everybody, but they did have time to put him in one.
They could have just captured him when he was at a hospital, doing another follow-up on his physical therapy or something like that. It's as many, many times. It could have been after Endgame for all we know. This just seems to be the popular belief right now. And I'm just saying, I don't subscribe to this as the thing that would be effective for it. Because then when we're going into Armor Wars, that would mean then that Rhodey is going to have to learn all of this information that has happened over the last few years. And while one part of my brain goes, actually, that could be compelling. That could be very interesting. Rhodey is someone who's like, I got this responsibility now. I'm leading my own movie.
And now I'm also just learning that I've been body swapped and my friends were through these horrible catastrophic events without me.
And my best friend died. Tony Stark's dead now, and I'm the one who looks the most like Iron Man. So I gotta do all.
So I gotta fill the shoes, man.
Yeah. So I think there is something really compelling they could do. The problem is trust in the writing. Disney Plus shows are 6 episodes long on average, and there's been a very common complaint about how you have the most potential to do the best writing out of the MCU.
Yeah.
You have the most potential to do the best character exploration out of the MCU. And I'm like, what a weight this guy has to take on now. And what a traumatic experience he has to now adopt into the portrayal of being Rhodey in Armor Wars. The thing is, Armor Wars is not going to be a show anymore. It's going to be a movie now. So a movie allows you even less time to deal with it. It allows you even less time to make a compelling piece for your character. And they're like, yeah, we want it to be something where it could be a multiple movie arc for him. I'm like, how many freaking multiple movie arcs or multiple movies are they saying they're going to do, and then a sequel comes out like freaking forever from now, whenever it's released? This whole idea of, we can make something kind of interesting for Rhodey, I just don't have the faith that they're going to be able to pull it off, honestly.
Yeah, it's a matter of will you actually commit to that, because step by step, and especially I think through Phase 4, they have like promised a lot of things and then sort of like half committed to maybe sort of delivering on them. And the thing about transmuting a show version of Armor Wars into a movie version is that you'll also lose a portion of the audience who isn't checking in with the Disney Plus shows for a pretty big revelation about this character, who then might be the people who are like lost when Gamora was a whole different person in Guardians 3 if they didn't see all the intervening chapters and stuff like that. So I feel like it murkies the water that much more moving forward, and for, again, like you said, the trust of, are they really going to, commit to putting this thread in a prominent way throughout multiple movies, even if they're not Rhodey movies, because they're not going to release like 5 Rhodey movies in the next several years, so how, and that could hail an interesting change to their storytelling approach, because, hey, I mean, comic books, especially as these universes grow in the pages, certainly characters are traversing and kind of crossing over all the time and being significant supporting characters in other heroes' main stories or whatever. But again, thus far, it doesn't seem like that's exactly what they're doing with all these media. So, it's like a cool thought, but nothing suggests that that's what they're actually going to do.
I agree. I mean, we'll probably get less Rhodey. I mean, Papa Iger, the people's champ, as the world likes to call him.
The champ is him.
The man for the average individual.
Yeah, for the working man.
For the working man. And Papa
the working
Iger,
creative.
Yeah. He's like, less Marvel.
You guys are diluting yourselves. Which, I mean, to some extent, there is a kernel of truth to that, because, hey, people get spread thin in terms of the richness of the ideas. Spread them out a little bit and, like, really put some impact on it.
Now we got the the idea too that Nick Fury apparently could never pick up on this fact.
Who's like the greatest mastermind and discerner of people and character and espionage and all that.
Yeah. There's like actual Nick Fury was around for a while with Skrody on this time frame. Then after the events of Endgame, it was Talos Fury, you know,
Cheadle Rhody.
Yeah, it was.
Did they know about each other?
Well, no, I obviously didn't.
Yeah, because it's not suggested by the show.
Talos Fury couldn't pick up on it either, so no one could pick up on this. And to me, I go, well, I feel like one of them should have been able to pick up on this.
For how, great their acumen is presented, one of them should have been.
And that's one of the things I'll let out of all the complaints I have, I'm like, that's one of the ones I'll let slide, because the idea is they're supposed to be so good at being undercover that you can't even detect it, right? Even amongst other Skrulls. So sure, let's let that slide. To me, though, I think it makes actual Skrody that we got, the confirmed one that we have in Secret Invasion, an even dumber portrayal. Mainly because, the performance just doesn't line up with the supposed Skrodys we now had. It does not properly line up.
Where'd the long game go?
Where'd the long game go? It does bother me that the show itself lost so much of its gray conversation, the things that made it compelling, that not one part of Skrody in this thing about F-humans never factored in the Avengers experience this Skrody had.
Yeah.
Everything that this Skrody did to restore 50% of the,
This could have been a golden opportunity. How many Skrulls got snapped?
And okay, fine. You got to get back to the main objective. Like, why would this Skrody after everything be like, no, I got to follow Gravik? Like, that's just whatever. Fine.
It made it feel like this was Skrody number 2 or 3.
It made it feel like this is Skrody who's been around maybe since post Endgame. That's what it feels like. So that's why I'm saying this whole idea that it's Civil War. If that's the case, I think it's dumb. And here's the thing that really, and we kept pointing it out. Skrody being around in Infinity War and Endgame, how come he never freaking used his suit? He clearly has his War Machine suit then that he can access. And the entire time to defend himself or fight against stuff, he never once involved himself as like, I could use my suit. So that whole hospital scene in the end, I'm like, where's your suit? Where's your suit, War Machine?
It'd be too greedy. I've already got my shape-shifting Skrull powers. It's too much of an advantage. I don't want to use the actual weaponry. No, he's protecting the president after a terrorist attack of sorts. Like, what better a time? And it's something you have to know, especially for what they're planning, is like an asset to your false flag, to your genuine cause. Like, why wouldn't you, if you had a Cheadle Rhody, put him in the suit as much as possible?
Yeah.
Really?
I think that this whole concept of him being since Civil War, I personally don't really like. I think there's room for potential, but I'm getting a little worn out on feeling like the common consensus keeps being, it was fun, but I'm kind of finding it forgettable and there's a lot of flaws because everything keeps going back to the potential it had.
Yeah.
And never quite matching the potential. And Secret Invasion is another prime case of what happened there. So whatever potential this has for Rhodey, I'm currently not sold on it. And nor will I go in like ready to hate it or anything of that fact. I always go in with an open mind.
I want them to nail these things.
I always want them to nail it. I mean, even for Secret Invasion that debuted to not good reviews, barely fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. We still walked away though, with the first couple episodes going like,
this is what I've been waiting
I love
for.
this. This is great. And then the show became what it became. And that's just where we stand. But where do you guys stand? Do you like this reveal? Do you like this twist? Do you think they'll handle it really well? What do you really disagree with us on? What do you agree with us on? Let us know in the comments. Seriously. Like, if you have a compelling case in the comments, I've said the word compelling so many times. If you have
Did this blow your mind? Did it click like a million dots together? Or did you see this and go, oh, cool, wait a second.
Yeah.
Hold on, what?
What do you find interesting about all this? Leave them in the comments. Thank you for being here, and we'll talk with you soon.